The most interesting guests. The coolest conversations. Keep watching episodes of the Grizzly Podcast, hosted by Irvin Scott. Follow the Grizzly Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more apps to have our episodes delivered right to your iPhone, Android, or any other device whenever they're released. Can't get enough of the Grizzly Podcast? Stay up to date with all our latest news, events, and behind-the-scenes footage by visiting grizzlypodcast.com. A new year means a fresh start. This year, try new things, break bad habits, and get out of your comfort zone. Happy New Year, everyone, from your friends at the Grizzly Podcast.
So what does it mean to be on your Grizzly? It means hard work, dedication, and it means progress beyond your Grizzly. Hard work, dedication, and progress.
I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me.
Coming to you from the City of Angels, this is the Grizzly Podcast, hosted by Irvin Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Grizzly Podcast. I am your host, Irvin Scott, and today I am joined by a very special guest. She currently serves as the director of the Los Angeles County Public Health Department. She's also leading the fight against COVID-19 in LA County. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, Dr. Barbara Ferrer.
Hi, Aaron. Thanks a million for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. And by the way, Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
I know you've been busy, and we've been trying to get you on the show for quite some time now. So the fact that we were able to finally do it, I'm so honored. It's great seeing you. How's the new year treating you so far?
I think, I'm looking forward to welcoming in hopefully a very peaceful and healthy 2023.
Now, Dr. Barbara Ferrer, you've accomplished so much in your career. You've graduated from UC Santa Cruz with a Bachelor of Arts in Community Studies. You've earned a Master of Public Health from Boston University, as well as a Master of Education from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. Now, being that you've accomplished so much in your career, why did you want to step into a leadership role?
Oh, thanks so much. I was a health director in another health department for many, many years in Boston. I think there are some issues that really matter to everyone, and health is one of them. And not just individual health, which, would really allow you to focus on perhaps becoming a healthcare professional, a doctor or nurse, moving into one of the specialty fields, but public health, the health of everyone in the public. And because of that, I really enjoy this opportunity that allows you to think about what are the resources and opportunities that people need to thrive? What are the resources and opportunities that our communities need to thrive? And then how do we work together to make sure that everyone have those opportunities and have those resources? Oftentimes we really look through a lens that holds individual people responsible for everything, including their health. But the reality is that that's not true. Your environment plays a huge role in your opportunities to be healthy. So you can be a medical professional that tells people how important it is to eat fresh fruits and vegetables. But if people live in neighborhoods where there's no access to fresh fruits and vegetables, or the price is unaffordable, then it's really, really hard for someone to act appropriately, quote unquote. as being directed by an individual. So I love that here at Public Health, we have this opportunity to say it is really important to everyone's health that they have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And what are we doing to make sure that people do have that access, that it's affordable, that it's everywhere, that there are no barriers to folks being able to eat healthy. The same thing with exercise, the same thing around violence. We know the root causes of poor health. We just have to really focus our efforts and address them.
So you've definitely done a lot to help others in the community. Can you tell me about your proudest moment serving as the director of the Los Angeles County Public Health Department?
That's a hard question to answer, but I think there are many proud moments. All of them really, when I look back, are times where we worked with our partners, including a whole team of folks from the Public Health Department, folks in our communities, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, businesses, and really came together to oftentimes try to make a big difference pretty quickly. You know, I think we made an effort around addressing environmental contaminants in the Exide neighborhoods, trying to get lead out of the soil there, doing door knocking to every house that may have had people who were affected by that contamination. I think you saw a lot of that happen over the last 3 years, setting up all these vaccination sites, all these sites where people can go and get access to tests and, so that they can know their status, tying access to those healthcare services with access to food and other needs that families had. Those are all very proud moments. Like when we were all able to come together and say, you know, here's something powerful we could do if we do it together. Those are the moments I love. Those are the moments I cherish.
So a lot of us were shocked when we first heard about COVID-19. What was your reaction like when you first heard about COVID-19?
I think like other public health professionals, we were very concerned. We trained and we know about the possibility of there being a worldwide pandemic, and the conditions that existed made it highly likely that there was going to be massive spread of a very dangerous virus. That was cause for concern. At the time, did any of us, I think, imagine, two things. One is that it would be this long a duration. I would say most of us, while acknowledging, we all knew it wasn't going to be a matter of weeks, that it would be many months. But I think, we're moving into year 3. So I think that was somewhat surprising. And in many ways, I think that really is fueled by the fact that we have a virus that mutates very frequently and very effectively. There's not a burnout of COVID. I mean, we're not seeing that. It's unlikely we'll see it in the future. And I think that's been daunting. But I will say we were prepared for a pandemic in the sense that we knew that was possible and we knew what steps we would all need to take. I mean, we have practiced on setting up massive vaccination sites, testing sites, distributing therapeutics. I still think it's a new virus. The science changed, very rapidly at the beginning, and certainly we had supply chain shortages that we never imagined we'd be experiencing.
Now, a lot of us lost family members or friends during the COVID-19 pandemic. I watched you on television on a daily basis here in LA County talk about COVID-19. How did you and your family cope during the COVID-19 pandemic?
My heart goes out to everyone. I think everyone experienced losses. And just as you noted, some people lost family members, friends, and colleagues, and it's heartbreaking. Over 34,000 people have died here in LA County. That number is so huge. I think the magnitude of which is very hard to imagine, except for the fact that it means that most of us know somebody who died from COVID over the last few years. And what a hole that leaves. That's a forever hole, we may find peace and acceptance, but it leaves a big gap in our community and in our lives. So my heart goes out to everyone. I think my family was in many ways blessed because we have resources. We had work. Here, everybody at Public Health, nobody lost a job. We were able to make accommodations. And I think, that made a difference. I don't think, that's what I'm saying. I'm blessed because I had that. And I know so many people didn't. So, the focus for us really has to be on deeply understanding, how privilege shows up even during a pandemic, and our obligations as being part of a much broader community to continue to take care of others who are more vulnerable and have less access to the kinds of resources that are going to be helpful during a pandemic.
So people are still experiencing COVID-19 symptoms on a daily basis. We're still losing people. But at this point, is the COVID-19 pandemic over?
No, the pandemic's not over. What the good news is we've got such powerful tools that we all could be using to really mitigate, the tragedies that occur because of a pandemic. So we've got boosters, bivalent booster right now that's really going to be very effective against what's circulating, and give us that added protection. It turns out that the protection you get from vaccines and the protection you get if you've been infected, that wanes over time. And so we need to boost our immune systems. And we've got a good bivalent booster that we all can take advantage of. And it's free. We also have a lot of testing right now. We had no testing. I remember at the very beginning in 2020, we said there'd be three conditions that would really change the trajectory of the pandemic. The first would be that we got a vaccine. The second would be that people had access to easy and relatively inexpensive testing. And the third would be that we had good therapeutics, medicines that people could take that would save their lives when they got sick. We have all three. We've got the vaccines. We've got pretty decent access to testing. If you're insured, and 90% of the people in LA County are, your health plan is required to cover up to 8 tests a month. The cost of up to 8 tests a month per member. And if you don't have health insurance, we distribute millions and millions of test kits through community-based organizations and faith-based organizations across the county. So people can go to many different sites to get a free test kit, including all of the sites where we're vaccinating folks. And now we have decent therapeutics. I think the reason why the pandemic isn't over is because the virus keeps mutating. And that every mutation that takes hold, when we talk about, now there's a new variant that's crowding out what we saw before, the reason they're crowding it out and becoming sort of the dominant variant is because they're more infectious. It's easier for that virus to get transmitted from person to person. And that means then that we all have to go back to taking some sensible precautions. I don't think we'll ever have to close down again. I keep my fingers crossed. We have so many powerful tools, unless they all fail us. I think we're well on the way to managing the pandemic much more successfully than we have in the past. But that's what we have to do. We have to manage, we have to mitigate, we have to take sensible steps. We have to get past the putting on a mask is like a political statement to putting on a mask is an act of kindness and consideration and caring for each other. Because we're going to need those masks when we have highly transmissible viruses that the vaccine doesn't provide 100% protection against. So, and as we've seen this year, when we have a lot of flu and we have a lot of RSV and other respiratory illnesses, the masks are going to protect us from those as well.
What does the future hold for LA County?
I think the future's really positive. I mean, we're fully open. Everyone can enjoy each other's company, can enjoy all the events and all the activities that LA has to offer. Just when we have high rates of transmission like we have right now, we're going to need to layer in those protections. When transmission is much slower, then people can relax some of the steps that they're taking. But, we've had to make adjustments before in our lives. There are many people who have lived through wars, and they know that, in the worst of the war, you may have to make some sacrifices and take some steps, really for the benefit of the good of the community. And I think with the pandemic, that's the same reality in many ways. We're going to continue to ask people to take care of each other, to be kind, to be compassionate, to recognize that some people are more vulnerable to having a severe illness or perhaps even dying from COVID, and that we have a shared obligation to take care of those people who are more vulnerable, because that's millions of people in LA County. But I do feel very optimistic about our future. I'm glad that schools are fully reopened. I'm glad that businesses are back doing what their customary work is. And I'm glad that the majority of our residents continue to be thoughtful and kind and considerate.
Well said. So, Dr. Barbara Ferrer, this is the Grizzly Podcast. And as I mentioned earlier, the Grizzly Podcast is all about being on your grind, working towards your dreams and just doing your best to help motivate others. And you're obviously somebody that continues to do that to this day. You embody what we do on this show. So if you were to offer any advice to our listeners or viewers that are tuning into the podcast right now and are passionate about following their dreams, what piece of advice would you give our listeners?
Yeah, every single person has something to offer and something essential to offer. So I hope you find your passion, and then I hope you share it with others, because we all benefit from that. We all will be a better world, we'll be a better LA community for the connections that you're allowing us to make. Everybody has leadership qualities. Everybody has something to offer. And I think you're right to emphasize that, find your passion, because we all benefit from passionate people, and we all benefit from sharing what we love with others. So I wish everybody, especially in this new year, opportunities to, in fact, be able to do that, pursue your dreams, find support in the community where you live and where you work, and seek out help. I mean, I think the one thing that goes along with passion is, like, none of us stand by ourselves. None of us can do what we need to do by ourselves. So we all need to help each other and be ready to both ask for help and then offer help when it's appropriate.
That was wonderful advice there given to us by Dr. Barbara Ferrer. Thank you so much for all the information you've given us today, and we definitely do appreciate your time. I know we've been trying to get you on the podcast for quite some time now, and we were finally able to do it, and what better way to do it just in time for the new year. So 2023 is going to be a successful year, not just for myself, but for you as well, and for everybody that's definitely on their grind and doing their best to, work towards their dreams. So with that being said, stay on your Grizzly.
Thank you. Have a wonderful year.
Get it pop. Let's get it.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about.
Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the Grizzly Podcast YouTube channel to access full episodes, video clips, and more on YouTube. The most authentic podcast is online at grizzlypodcast.com and on all major podcast platforms. Guest appearances and real conversations that will push you to hustle. The Grizzly Podcast is now streaming. 2022 was one for the books. We'd like to thank all our listeners and guests for being a part of the Grizzly Podcast. Here's to a memorable new year filled with happiness, health, love, and success. Check out brand new episodes of the Grizzly Podcast this January.
Hi, and welcome to Trademark Expediters. Whether you need a trademark or copyright, we can help make the process easy and affordable. Protect your company name, logo, or slogan with the trademark. Protect your songs, books, photographs, and other creative works with a copyright. Complete our easy online questionnaire in 15 minutes or less. Clear pricing, no hidden fees. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Get started today. Learn more at trademarkexpeditors.com or call one of our friendly specialists at 1-800-510-1082. Affordable, easy, expedited service. Trademark Expeditors.
Yo, turn it up. Hard work, dedication, and progress. Stay on your Grizzly. Yeah. Thanks for checking out another Grizzly podcast episode. We'll see you next time.